Hey guys, so today I'm doing my DigiTour experience, and I went to DigiTour last night. I went to DigiTour San Diego. Okay, so I look like a dumpster right now because I'm wearing this shirt that is way too big for me, but it's whatever, it's really comfortable. Okay, so DigiTour San Diego was at the fair, which is like 30 or 20 minutes away from me. My friend came over at 8 or 9 or something like that, and we made a poster for Matt. This is what our poster looks like. Just like a bunch of glitter on Matt, the heart, and then butt. It says Matt, our love for you is bigger than your butt, and it has a picture of him. So it's ombre, so it's like green fading into blue, and then this one's like orange fading into reddish pinkish. Back it also has a picture of an Espesaurus Rex, and then just like CV Bay, TF is a locator, and just like other random stuff because we didn't know what else to put. And also he signed it right here and it just says love you, and then it has his signature. And yeah, I'll explain how we got him to sign it because we didn't meet him. I'll explain how we got him to autograph our poster later in the video. So yeah, when we finished the poster it was like 11, so my friend Lorraine picked us up and then her mom took us to the fair, and then when we got to the fair it was around like 12 or something. And then Digi started at 7:30, but they let everyone in at 6. So we were walking around the fair for a while, and then we were like getting food and all that stuff. And then we decided to just like walk into the exhibit hall and just like sit there, and Lorraine had to charge her phone, and we're just looking at like random stuff in that exhibit hall. And then outside the exhibit hall was 3 lines, and it's all for the people that didn't have a ticket. And we have a ticket because we bought reserved seats for DigiTour. But DigiTour was also a free show if you didn't want to buy a ticket. So you had to like stand below like the stage, and the stage was super duper high, so you couldn't just like reach up and touch everyone, like the performers and stuff. We were just like walking around and like sitting and stuff, and when it was finally 6, we stood next to the door where they let us in. And if you had reserved seats, you didn't have to stay in line. You could just like walk around and then like come whenever you want. They let everyone outside in, like the people that didn't have a ticket, and they were like running, and then my friends started running, and we didn't have to run because we had reserved seats, and they're running to our seats, but you didn't have to run. And then I was running after them, obviously, and then the mob behind me was literally like, they scared me because there's so many and they're screaming and they're just running towards my direction. So I started running, obviously, and these 2 girls kept pushing me, so I just pushed them really hard, and I finally got through. And like I was looking at all the mob of girls just running. It looked like they were like running after like a naked Cameron Dallas or something, I don't know. And then I was just looking at them, and like a bunch of them tripped and fell, and I started laughing. I feel bad for laughing, but I just started laughing because it was the funniest thing ever. And then my friends and I just walked towards our seats, and we sat on a terrace. We were terrace B, table 15, row 1. On the terrace, it was just like a bunch of tables and then seats, and you can order food from your table. So we ordered like drinks and chips, and then we walked down to like the merchandise booth thingy, and then my friend Lorraine bought a t-shirt, but I couldn't buy anything because I was broke, and so was my other friend Chloe. And so yeah, and then at like 6:30 our friend AJ and Sierra texted us, and they told us that they just arrived to the fair and they wanted to go meet up with us at the front, so we went to go meet up with them. And then AJ, if you don't know who AJMG is from Vine, that is AJ, and we were friends with him. And then his dad, Josh Darnett, and his little brother, Evan Incredible, and like his sister and mom was there with him. And then we're walking with them. We just like walked with them towards backstage area, but we couldn't go backstage because there was a gate and you needed a pass. And then Cody Johns walked out, and then Matthew Espinosa's brother also walked out, and he was talking to AJ's dad, and they said that they couldn't get him backstage because they needed a pass, and they're getting the passes right now. And then they walked out with 2 passes, and they're like, this is all we got so far, but we'll come out with more. My friends and I were gonna get a backstage pass, but they didn't have enough, so we just went back to our seats, and we were just watching them perform. And then I didn't know that AJ was gonna go on stage. AJ went on stage, and he was throwing t-shirts, and he was like throwing t-shirts with Brent Rivera and stuff. And then Sierra was texting us, and she was like hanging out with Matt Espinosa and Brent Rivera, and then she was taking pictures and videos for us and like keeping us updated what was happening backstage, so that was really cool. While Matt was performing, we were holding our poster, and then we didn't know if he saw it or not because he was like jumping around and like singing on stage. So after he walked off stage, he went up to our friend Sierra, and then he started talking to her, and he's all like, oh, did you see that poster about my butt? And then she's like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, the people holding it seem cool, and like their poster looks really cool. And so she texted us, and she was telling us how he was talking about her poster and like everything said about it. And then she's like, do you guys want to meet me out front where like the gate is to the backstage area and give me your poster and I can give it to him? And then we were just like, oh, can we just give it to you and then you can get him to sign it and then just give it back to us? And she's like, yeah, sure. So we walked over to the gate where the backstage area is, like where you enter, but there's like, okay, so backstage there's like a gate and then you have to walk through the gate and then you turn and there's that backstage area. And then, so they walk out, and so we give them our poster, and then they go backstage, and then they come out a couple of minutes later, and they're like, here's your poster, and then he signed it and everything. And we walked away, and we were like squealing, we were just like screaming, and I was hyperventilating because I didn't think we can get Matt to sign our poster and stuff. And so we went back to our seats, and then we were watching everyone else perform. After Digi, we were supposed to hang out with Sierra, AJ, and Matthew Espinoza, but that didn't work out because Matt had to leave because he got mobbed. While they were walking down the fair, he was hiding behind Sierra, and he was wearing a hoodie and beanie, and then he got mobbed, so he just left, and it was just AJ and Sierra, and then we found them, and then while we're walking with AJ, he's all like, oh, do you guys want to meet Brent Rivera? And we're like, what? We're not even a fan of him. And then he's all like, oh no, he's really chill. And Sierra's like, yeah, I don't like him, but he's really chill. And then we're like, okay, then we'll meet him. And then he texted Brent, and he asked him where he is, and then Brent told him that he was with Collins Key, Marcus Johns, and Cody Johns, and they were waiting in line to get on a ride. When we walked over to where they were staying in line for like this really scary ride, and there was like a bunch of girls just like surrounding the barricades of like the lines, like where the line you stand to get on the line. AJ and Sierra just walked through the barricades and stood in line with them, and we didn't have tickets, and so we're like, AJ, we don't have tickets, and then he's like, oh, go buy some, and then so we ran to go buy some, and we came back. We were going to get in line, but there was just too many people behind them, and he didn't want to cut them. And so AJ's like, we can ride the next ride together. So we're like, okay. And we were just talking to AJ, and then Marcus Johns turns around, and then he's like, oh, AJ, are these your friends? And then AJ's like, yeah. And then Marcus Johns comes up to my friends and I, and he's like, hi, I'm Marcus. And he shakes our hand, and I had to stop myself from just like wheezing because before we met like all those guys, AJ asked us not to freak out because he didn't want to like overwhelm them or like scare them, I guess, because we're gonna hang out with them. So we're like, okay, we're not gonna freak out since one, we're not a fan of Brent. We might freak out over like Marcus Johns or Cody Johns, but not to their face, you know. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I looked constipated because I was in shock and I was trying my best not to just like start screaming into his face because come on, it's Marcus Johns and Cody Johns, and they're so much more attractive in real life. Like, let me tell you, they are attractive, like really attractive. So yeah. And then when they got on the ride, we just stood at the exit, and there's like a bunch of girls surrounding the exit, so we just stood on the side, and Collins Key just like walks out the gate of the ride, and then there's like a bunch of fans, and he only took like selfies with 2 fans, and then he walked away from them, and he walked over to where my friends and I were standing at, and he just started talking to us, and we're just like, oh, why aren't you on the ride with them? And he's like, they said that I'm too tall. We're like, really, how tall are you? He's like 6'3", and then we did that thing like that girl, she's like, Chase, how tall are you? And he's like 6'3" or something, and then she goes like that. Well, we did that to him, and then he started laughing. We're like, oh, that's unfair. He's like, yeah, I know, right? They said that if I go on the ride, my legs will get off. Let me describe the ride. It's like this tall, gigantic thing, and it has like these 2 things, like these 2 like stick thingies, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. It's like one is pointing up and the other's pointing down, and there's like 4 seats on like 2 on each side of these like sticks, and so there's 8 in total. And it like goes like this, and just like it's hard to describe, but it gets really close to like this fence thingy, and so yeah, he couldn't go on the ride because his legs would like hit the fence thingy and stuff. I don't know. And then he went to go take pictures of them, and then Marcus Johns, Cody Johns, and Brent Rivera were the first 3 to get off the ride, and then they were taking pictures of the fans, and they got totally mobbed. And so we just walked away from the group because like there was just so many girls, and they kept pushing us. So we just stepped at the exit and waited for AJ and Sierra. And this one girl walks up to us, and she's like, oh, why aren't you guys freaking out over them? And we're like, oh, because we're friends with one of the guys who's friends with them. So yeah, and she's like, oh, okay. So then AJ and Sierra come off the ride. We were gonna walk around until AJ got stopped, and like a bunch of people started taking pictures of him. And then after like 5 minutes, somebody finally noticed that Brent Rivera just like ran off by himself, and then Marcus Johns was just like asking us if we knew where like Brent went, and we're like, no. And then Marcus called AJ over, and then we all had to leave and go find Brent. And then we're just like running on the fair, and a bunch of people just chasing us and stuff. I have no idea where they found Brent, but yeah, I hope they found him. That'd be weird if they didn't find him. I don't know. Yeah, that's what happened at Digi pretty much. So all my links will be in the down bar, like my Twitter and Instagram, so you can go follow me on that. And yeah. Bye guys.